Okay, my YouTube people, this is the assembly video of my 1946 knucklehead transmission. Of course, I always have the manuals open while I'm doing this job. Okay, for the main shaft, next is the locking washer, and I'm going to use the original one because it has 3 tangs to hold it on. Like that. And it's best to bend one up just a little bit so you can get underneath it. If not, they sit so flush it's really difficult to get them off the bearing there. Of course, some red Loctite. Then the nut, and that raised section faces out. And for this, I used my 36mm socket to put it on with. And the way I'm able to turn the nut without the transmission spinning is you lock it in 2 gears at once and the transmission can't spin. Okay, I torqued that one to 45 foot-pounds. Now I got to bend a locking tab onto it. You can see I got the locking tang bent up on it. Now I'll put the kicker gear on. I had to replace both these gears because the teeth were in real rough condition. Okay. Set your kicker gear on like that. And then that gear fits right in this outer ring here. Like that. And you want to make sure that it moves in and out freely. Next thing you have to do is put your key in. That kicker key is a little square, short kind of key. And then the outer gear goes on. Slips right over real nice. You got to push the key all the way in because the locking tang has a piece that fits down inside that. Here's the locking ring, and there's the tab that fits down in the keyway. Let's put that on. Of course, some red Loctite. And now the nut. Want to make sure your gear still slides freely and that it can ratchet like that. Again, you lock it in 2 gears at once, and then you torque the nut down. Again, I'm going to torque this to 45 foot-pounds. Now that it's torqued, I've got to bend the locking tab over. Okay, now it's bent over and the clutch moves freely. And it ratchets properly. Now I'll install the kicker studs. Here's the 9 studs. I'm going to put a little dab of red Loctite on the coarse side, and that's the side that goes into the transmission housing. When I put the nuts on, I use blue Loctite on those. So when I take those nuts off, I want the studs to stay, and the best way to do that is with a little dab of red. I don't go crazy. Something like that dab is all it needs. The way I get these in is I take the 2 1/2-inch fine thread nuts. The way I get these in is I start them in with the nut. Once the nut turns on, I get a second nut. That's called double nutting them. And then I lock them together. And then I use the outside nut to turn the stud in. You only want to turn them in until the coarse thread ends. You don't want to keep going because it will keep going and then it'll damage the aluminum. So once you feel it pull up, right there it stopped, and you stop. Then you just break the nuts loose. Barely any effort. And you go to the next one. Okay, now the 9 studs are in. I'm going to move on to the shift forks next.